Hello and welcome to the Chicane Podcast, where we discuss all things in the sim racing world. I'm your host, Jason Rivera, and I'm joined here again today by Eric and Jeff. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man.
Doing well. How are you guys doing? Jason, you doing well?
I'm doing good, man. I just returned from travel. So if you guys didn't know, I've been away on travel for almost a 3-week vacation out in Europe, and just getting back into things, and a lot of changes on the internet and the news and stuff. So we need to cover some of these things. So today we're going to cover F124, the new game, and its post-launch, and we'll go over thoughts on that. Jeff's going to cover some F1 real life regulations that are changing. And we're also going to go over some updates to the peripheral used for SimMagic hardware for PS5 compatibility. Eric's going to cover that, and I'll go over iRacing. But before that, I want to give the mic over to Mr. Eric Kelly. He has an announcement here, and we want to congratulate him, but I want to give him the honors to make that announcement here on the podcast. So, Eric, please.
Hey, man, I really appreciate it. Just to keep it quick, I graduated from the leadership program from the 100 Black Men of America. The purpose of the organization is to mentor young boys from single-parent homes. But the reality is we are mentoring all kids, shape, sizes, colors, sex. It doesn't matter because, we see the benefit in this institute is only 24 of us were chosen from dozens and dozens of chapters in the U.S. and also in London and Turks and Caicos in the Caribbean. So it was a big honor. They put on a nice little shindig for us at the national conference this past week in Atlanta. It was an amazing turnout. We had some awesome people come. The vice president, Kamala Harris, and some of her crew came out and thanked us for our support in the past and stuff. And it was just a wonderful time, man. And I'm honored.
Hey, well, congratulations, man. Sorry.
Good for you, man. Good for you. That's big time, man. The vice president and all that. That's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Good to see good people doing good things.
I seen this man on social media with suits on and all kinds of stuff and awards. And I was like, man, wow, that's really awesome. I know. How long have you been working on this? Because I know it's been a few years, right? That you've been.
So I've been in the organization for only 3 years. This program is actually a 6-month program.
Okay.
The purpose, they kind of designed it to where we're tackling some issues that the program has that also, like if we were to fix these in the program, it would also help the community. But my particular group's project was to figure out how to establish and grow chapters in other countries. So I got a chance to interview and work with people from London and also Turks and Caicos on their issues that they have with trying to establish programs like this that are designed to help, kids in need.
Awesome, man. So we'll add links in the description for this organization. That way, if you guys are interested, anyone that's listening wants to check it out, then we'll have links in the description there for you to check it out, okay? So with that, I want to roll right into this. I've been away for a while. I've been away while this F124 game launched. So can you both please just, I want to hear your thoughts on the game. I have my thoughts that I will publish it here in a second, but I would like to hear both of you since you've had more time with the game than I have. So I will give this to Eric and Jeff, and you guys can share your thoughts and opinions on the matter.
So Jeff, if you don't mind me going first because I didn't buy the game, so my opinions are going to be very concise.
Okay, go for it, buddy.
Based on feedback I've gotten from everybody, nobody loves this game. They talk about the mechanics being different, and it being more arcadey and just not pleased with the game at all. And all I have to say is good old EA, right? When you
Yeah. All right.
own the licenses, you can do whatever you want to do.
All right. So I saw all the YouTubes, all the people going out there, that jumping out quickly trying to get a review out, and there wasn't a single person that had anything nice to say about this game. But I thought I'm gonna give people the benefit of the doubt. So I was like, these people are putting videos out just to get the clicks. You know, nobody wants to go out and say it's a good game. Everybody wants to get the clicks because they're saying it's a bad game, it's trash, the handling, the realism, whatever. That's the easy button. So I was like, nope, I'm going to buy the game. Bought it. Big F1 fan. It's really like the only way you can jump in and race with real livery. And boy, again, no mouse. Here we are. We put a man on the moon like I don't know how many decades ago. We can't get a game with a mouse.
That's crazy.
It's a PC game without a mouse support. Bro, just think about that.
Yeah. Say that again and let that sink in. Yeah. So, anyways, we'll move past that. But like first things, it's just that my biggest gripe is you can point the car wherever you want to go, almost regardless of how fast you're going, and the car is going to turn. It's just unrealistic to think that you're going to be going, however fast you're going around a corner, and that car is going to stick. It just doesn't happen. The handling characteristics and the, what I think they call it, the engine and the handling of the game just is unrealistic. It's like Cruising USA back in like the 80s. You point the car where you want it, and it goes.
Cruising
I know that's
USA.
low. It is what it is, man. Another thing is like
right?
I had a hard time finding some graphic settings that made it look good. You're going down the straightaway at Spa, and it just didn't have the crispness that I was expecting of an EA game. I really had to get in there and really dig and grind and find some settings that made it look halfway decent. But the thing that really did it for me is I jumped back in 23 immediately after, and I was like, this game is better on everything. It's almost like they released them in the wrong order. The handling, I'm not saying 23 is great handling characteristics, but it's just way better. The graphics I felt were better and crisper, maybe a little bit oversaturated. But honestly, it was a better product, from the user interface to, the actual gameplay. So I'm not going to, poison the well and tell people if I'm going to return it or not. I'll let people make their own decision on that and if they're going to buy it or not. But I'll probably stick with playing F1 23 more. So, Jason, you want anything to add?
Yes. The only thing I liked about the game, and this is one thing, and it's actually mind-boggling that what I'm hearing is that the graphics are better on an older game, which is weird. That's not usually the case. You expect something new to be progressively better, even if it's that tiny bit, but you still have this expectation of a game being better.
Yeah, and that's my opinion too. So everybody, go in with your eyes wide open, make your own opinion. But go ahead, Jason. Sorry to jump over you.
No, I mean, you basically took the words out of my mouth, man. The car feels way too pointy. It has way too much grip. The graphics, I didn't really notice. I don't know. Most of my time is on ACC. So, I mean, you spend way more time than I do. So, you're our F1 guru expert on this stuff. But, you go in with a optimistic attitude and positive, and, it's always let down. So, I mean, I was always the one that said, hey, let's support the developers. But the developers aren't supporting us. You know what I mean? That's just the bottom line. They're continuing to just, pretend like they care about us or the gamer and, the enthusiast, the ones that want things, and they just don't deliver. So right now, I don't recommend anyone purchase it at full price. I would wait for a sale, or if there's some sort of demo that you can try the game and, judge it for yourselves, because
right. Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it is I wouldn't, if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't pay full price. But if I could get it on sale, sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you don't want to go on YouTube. I mean, you can go on YouTube and you can watch reviews, but take those with a grain of salt. Like Eric said and Jeff said, you can't trust what people are saying because they're paid to say these things. You never know what kind of deal was made in the background. A reviewer can say, "Oh, my thoughts are my own," but then they're hiding details or hiding things from you, and then you discover things that are not too good. You know what I mean? So just gather the reviews, do the research, and then if there's a demo or there's a sale, I recommend if you're on PC, you should be buying this game on Steam because Steam will allow refunds. So you can you yourself, Jeff, if you feel like you want to stay with F123, then you need to not play the game because I think there's a 2-hour limit with refunds on Steam. So if you're over 2 hours, you might be you should try it anyway. Right, but you should still try because I've seen where even if you if you request a refund, sometimes they'll honor it, especially if it's your first time, asking for a refund. So
yeah, let me ask a quick question.
You got updated liveries.
Yeah, Eric,
there is
that.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask, and me and Jeff were kind of talking about this before the podcast started, but a lot of the sim games, when they first come out, they were kind of trash or rough around the edges, I'll say. What do you guys think the odds of them fixing F124, or will it just, in EA fashion, they just make promises on the next game?
Well, let's say they did, Eric. Let's say they fixed the issues and they made it feel like F123, because that's what the game. that's what the gamers want. The gamers want the game to feel like the previous game. They're not. They're obviously they're trying new things and it's not working out. So how do you fix that? You revert back to the previous game, right?
Yeah.
So then I'm just playing a reskinned game for $70. I mean,
that wouldn't be abnormal, EA
right? For EA standards,
yeah.
I mean, so let's look at it from like an EA perspective. So this is the first year that they came out with a new NCAA college football game in a handful of years, and it is light years ahead of what it was. I think
it's light years ahead of Madden from what I've seen.
I mean, they knocked it out of the park. So if it was me in charge of EA, hey, listen, if we need to take a knee for a year, we're going to start with a clean slate. Don't build off of 23. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the crowd, if the return on the investment is, how many people are buying this stuff to make it worthwhile. But, start from the ground up like you did with the new college football, build a new engine and give us a new improved product, not a, version 1.0, 1.2 update.
I'm gonna butt in here. The problem with that is that EA is a yearly release model. There's just not enough time in development to cook up a new engine. They want to.
Yeah, NCAA. So for college football, they didn't release one for like 7 years. I'm not saying don't release F1 for 7 years, but don't release one for 25 and come out with a solid one for 26.
See, here's my opinion on that. Right, with the NCAA thing, my opinion is. They didn't release one because it probably wasn't selling. This is my opinion. I don't want to hurt anybody's or fans' feelings on it. And then when it does come out 7 years later, you're saying it's light years ahead, and it's because you haven't had one. And now it's built on this new technology that we have now, the new consoles, the new...
That's fair.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Point.
You haven't had it. You haven't had it. So when you finally see it, and now you're, 2 generations ahead, it's going to look amazing. You know what I'm saying?
No, you make a very valid point.
Yeah. And I'll say, even because I've watched a lot of content on it, and I have close friends that are kind of in the EA ecosystem on other games, especially like Madden and stuff like that. And it's kind of like what you're saying, year over year, they're for them to come out with a new game every year, they don't have the time to actually deep dive and develop a new system like that. But they are fine coming out with games that are very close to the same every year. and just
Right.
updating some of the stats. So it would be very beneficial for the customer if they did do, what Jeff was saying, like take a break and either just kind of get F124 to the point that they
Right.
kind of promised initially,
That's
and they
what
don't
we
come out and
really
do until
want.
the 26.
That's what we all want.
Yeah, but they're,
They're not going
once
to,
again,
bro,
this EA.
because it's
Yeah,
a
Or
it's
cough
money
EA.
up the
thing.
license and give it to somebody else that will give us what we're looking for.
Oh man, that would be wild. Yeah, that would be crazy.
The
I
money
just,
talks, man.
the biggest thing I think about EA, Jason, and you remember this, the damn Mass Effect.
Mm,
Mass Effect came out, and that game was already a great universe,
right.
and they
They
destroyed
just
it,
crumpled it up.
bro.
They
That's
crumpled it up.
yeah.
They
That
stamped
still
the
hurts.
logo on there, and once they did that, it just faded and just faded.
Yeah,
Well,
into
that's
oblivion.
F124 for you guys. I hope it gets better, but like I said, I don't see it getting any better than the previous gen game, if that makes sense. Because
Yeah,
other than a new updated, what is it, career? It's not the My Team; it's the My Driver career. That's the only
Yep.
thing new the game has. I mean,
hmm.
I might pick it up again. I refunded the game. I'm fed up with it. I'm upset, and I don't feel like paying $70 for a game that I'm just simply not going to play.
Yeah,
If
to your point that you were texting earlier about is $80 goes a long way with cars and tracks and iRacing.
right, and we're going to cover iRacing to see
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
that money can work for you for the F1 enthusiast and the F1 that's chasing that and wants to have a grid that's fair, because let's not even go into the online, because F1 online is terrible. You know what I mean? The multiplayer. None of us play the multiplayer. We always play the single player, because the multiplayer is just it's just not good. It doesn't have a good net code. It lags. It's really bad. You know
Wow,
what I
Yeah,
mean?
licenses isn't really squared away.
man, I didn't know that. That's new to me. I don't play F1 much.
You should try it, Eric, because I know you got the which one you got? 23, right? 22? 23?
Uh, either 22 or either 22 or 23. That's what I was going to say too. As far as it being on sale, the way things are going, it'll be on sale real soon because they gave away
Oh yeah, it'll be on sale. Definitely.
22 or 23 for free as a part of the PlayStation subscription earlier this year. So
Yeah, because they get rid of them. That's how they get rid
yeah,
of a title. They'll send it to Game Pass, or they'll send it to PlayStation Plus or whatever it is, and that's how they send it to its death. You know what I mean? They'll get the very little money from the company, from Sony or from Xbox, that'll pay them to host that game on the server, and then that's it. That'll be the end of it for
yep,
whatever time period it's on there, and then it's gone forever.
yep. Best
So
case scenario.
So again, this is not an EA bashing podcast. I hope everyone knows we gave it a fair shot. We paid real life, US dollars for this. No one paid us to buy the game. No one gave us a code. So you're hearing
Yep,
it from three different perspectives, right? You're hearing it from Eric's, mine, and Jeff's. So
yep.
with that, I'm going to hand this over to Jeff, and he's actually going to cover some news that he has to share with F1, the actual F1 championship sport in real life, and regulations and some changes. So I'll hand this over to Jeff.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. So, FIA came out with some new updates to the next generation F1 cars. So I'm going to cover them here. They got six big updates that I'll touch on here, and then kind of reach out to you guys because I got some points that I'd like to discuss. So I'm going to jump right in here. So first is more powerful hybrid engine, increased electrical power, hybrid engines with 100% sustainable fuel, an agile car concept at the heart of regulations to promote closer and more exciting racing, a lighter, smaller car to improve efficiency and handling, and then manual override modes to provide following cars with a boost of energy and new active aerodynamics. So a big portion of this is the new power unit is the world's most efficient hybrid to enhance to deliver more power than the current one. It's a 300% increase in electrical power
Wow.
with 100% sustainable fuel. So it's
Man.
double the energy recovery during braking versus the 22 cars.
These are 2026 regs, right?
26, yes, 26. Yep.
So we're gonna
that's-
see Audi come in 26, Eric.
That is correct.
Yeah, that's
So
gonna
that's
be
power.
nice. Yeah.
The chassis, I'm not going to get into it here, but in summary, the car is going to be lighter, about 20 kilograms lighter, or 30 kilograms lighter. It's going to be shorter and more narrow. The thought is that it's going to create better wheel-to-wheel racing. It's going to be an interesting point here is the downforce is going to be reduced by 30%. That kind of rolls into some of the questions I got for you guys. They got a bunch of new aerodynamics, some driver modes, a Z mode and X mode. Gives the ability for active aero on the front and rear wing, so down the straightaway. So kind of like think of a DRS on steroids, if you will. And then some safety updates, which is probably to be expected every time they get a new update for the car. And this is the one that I'm really going to interested in you guys is the new hybrid engines powered by 100% sustainable fuels. And this is the regulation that is the FIA goal of net zero in 2030. So after everything I said, gentlemen, my first question to you guys is, and I know where I stand on this, but I want to hear other people, is when you watch F1 and motorsports in general, are you concerned about being net neutral and making sure that you're 100% sustainable fuels and things like that? That's I'll start the conversation off. Is I miss the V10s of F1, the sounds, the speeds. We have all this technology. We're kind of going backwards in car development. The car's going to be slower, smaller. You might get better racing, but I like the cars going fast. I like them being loud. I think the hybrid over the hybrid boost that you get with the battery is cool, but don't take don't take away the power and things like that. So I've said enough, gentlemen. I want to hear what you have to think about this.
Well, it sounds like these cars are probably going to go electric. I mean, we already have Formula E.
Yep,
if you're concerned about emissions and the environment.
Yeah.
But this is motorsport, man. This is motorsport. This is,
that's like the NFL being worried about PETA.
Yeah, like it's tongue in cheek when they say this stuff, right? Because 100% net neutral, but Max Verstappen and all these dudes are taking private jets. You're like,
driving. Yeah,
I got it. You're trying to appeal to that portion of the fan base, but I think, and this is Jeff Smart's opinion here, the vast majority of F1 fans want to see loud cars, V10s,
yes. The screaming car coming around the corner.
Screaming car, yes, absolutely. Yep, that's my opinion. And I did read some articles here that there are a number of F1 teams that are extremely dissatisfied to the point they are protesting the F1 on some of these regulations. I know Red Bull is one of them, so that's technically two teams. But I did think that Ferrari, Mercedes jumped in there too with some of this is just not good for F1, the brand.
Well, so, Jeff, you got to think though, when you mention Mercedes is a power unit. So who uses their? So that's basically all the teams right there. You have the Red Bull power unit. You have because they have their own power unit now. It used to be Honda. It is a Honda. Let's not pretend that it's not a Honda. It's a Japanese engine in there. It's just rebranded to say Red Bull. And then you have their Mercedes powertrain, and I forget the other one. But I'm pretty sure Ferrari.
Ferrari, yeah.
So Aston Martin, Williams, they all use Mercedes. So if their motor is going to be, if those companies are going to have to go through those many changes, it's going to be a I don't think that's gonna fly, man. I really don't, to be honest with you.
I hope
The
you're
That's
right. I
why.
hope that there's some type of update to it. But I'd imagine that the FIA put a lot of money into research and development and building test vehicles and test cars and test aero to make this stuff. So time will tell. I'm hopefully optimistic that they're going to walk back some of this stuff, but ooh, I don't
And
know.
I'm with you, man. I wish they would bring the damn V10s back. You
I
know
mean,
what
you
I mean?
compare. There's those,
Yeah.
I send you a bunch of the Instagram videos of them. The V10 car coming by and the sound that it makes,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. The
then
comparison.
the current car coming down. You're like, it's not even comparable. We're moving the wrong direction.
Right,
Yeah.
man. And racing used to be um, so much more skill in the driver than computer driver aid. You know what I mean? So this sounds like more of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Reducing
mean,
reducing downforce. Tells me that okay. So if you're going to reduce downforce, that means the engine is going to be doing everything. So what do? You just floor it. You don't have to think about cutting air or dirty air or stuff like that. The different the things that make the sport great. You know what I mean? The
right. The week to week updates that the teams back in their home
the
bases
piece of
build
tape
it.
that they
Yeah,
put on the damn spoiler.
seams and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, to me,
like
that one little piece of tape makes the car just fly because of the aero. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Aerodynamics,
I don't know. I think the
downforce.
community as a whole, from what I've been reading and seeing on social media, is that as a whole, people aren't really thrilled, me included.
I mean, let's enjoy it while we can, guys. You know why? Because today, tomorrow's never promised. So I'm
And
pretty
I
sure.
do my I try to do my part for the environment and stuff like that. But like the things you go off to blow steam on, for recreation and for enjoyment and spectating, I, I want to see a great product that's entertaining. Um, and if that
Right.
means that we're going to make sacrifices other places, I'm happy to do that. But that's my opinion on it. So I think we'll
Yeah.
be reading a lot more about this in the news here coming up.
Okay, and that's
Yeah.
that's a good update, man. I actually, Eric, do you have anything to add on that? Also, I don't know if I cut you off there. Sorry.
Well, no, I was just thinking, it's kind of the same push with, consumer cars. They're pushing the EVs and they're kind of hailed as the savior. But the reality is you kind of lose a lot of the benefits because the production cost and, pollution produced
Mhm.
kind of offsets any savings you get
Yeah.
from having a final product that has zero emissions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm with you, Jeff. Like, I don't want a battery strapped to a small engine. Like, give me a big engine.
Yeah. Yeah, and then to be fair, I drive an electric car, and people always say, "Oh, Tesla, they're zero emissions," but then how much pollution did it take to build the car? You know what I mean? To get those batteries to build, just you
Yeah,
just have to be realistic about these things. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
and it's all a marketing thing. This whole thing, it's just a
yeah,
marketing thing. It's just how you're viewed in the public eye. Apple is doing this. Apple is trying to be the zero. What do you call this? Sustainability and all this stuff.
Yeah, like
But
net
yeah,
neutral.
net neutral. There you go. That's the word. Net neutral.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, tell me how we're going
Yeah.
to be net neutral in F1 when each team gets, what is it, like 7 sets of tires for a weekend?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck being net neutral. We're gonna go. We're gonna change the tires to plastic. Is that what we're gonna
Yeah,
do?
time will tell. Give them enough
Recycle,
time. Give them enough time.
recycle tires. Mhm.
Right. Are we gonna change them to magnets so that they hover and we don't? There's no more tires no more. That's coming. You'll see.
Hey, hey, there you go. Now you're thinking.
I'll keep everybody updated though as updates happen, and we'll see what the community has to
Much
say.
appreciated, man. I appreciate it. Those are interesting. You know what? We'll include some links on that on those changes, so people can whoever's listening can check those out. Okay. So and then we got a quick segment here. Um, it's a bit of a news. If you are a Sim Magic user, And SimMagic, when I mean SimMagic user, I mean SimMagic hardware. And you're on a PS5. Eric has some news for you on a new software update for a peripheral that talks to SimMagic hardware. So I'll give it to Eric real quick.
Yeah, so it's actually an older software release. It's a beta. So if you're on PS5, that means you have to be using the Sigma Cortex converter, and they have their stable version, but they've released two beta versions. I've been running the latest beta, and the benefit of it is you get the direct drive emulation. But if you roll back to the previous beta, that direct drive emulation actually works with Assetto Corsa, which is
Can,
interesting.
can you
And
tell
so,
us the version number? Do you know?
uh, yeah, version 1.1.4
Okay.
is the beta version that works. The latest one is 1.1.5, which in your mind you want to be on the latest and greatest. But thanks to Discord, somebody pointed out like, hey, if you roll back to the previous version, um,
You get full
then
support on
yeah,
ACC.
yeah, you get full support on there without having to do anything weird. There's a way where you can turn down completely. I think it's either the road detail or one of the other settings, and it temporarily kind of fixes the issue, but it makes it drive like you're driving Mario Kart, right? You lose all feeling, but the wheel works with the latest beta version. But if you roll back, then you don't really lose. Well, depending on the hardware you have, you will lose some functionality that they added in the latest beta. I think there are some peripherals like versions of handbrakes that work better. But if trying to play ACC and you want the full, force feedback experience with direct with a DD being emulated, that one does work. So that's been nice. I've been driving more and realizing I suck at driving more as well.
No, man. It's just a learning curve with ACC. It's like every sim has their own it has their own style. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no truer words.
ACC, yeah, man. ACC cars feel a lot heavier, and the braking is different, and you're
Yeah,
racing GT3 cars, and I know you
yeah,
have GT3 cars in GT7, but this game has maybe 20 cars. So the amount of detail and focus that the developers pouring into each car instead of a
yeah,
game that has 500, 600 cars, if that makes sense.
yeah. And I definitely got to get kind of more used to having to dial in a lot of the settings and getting more used to a specific car versus this week's car is a Tesla Model 3, and next week's car is a 1957 Jaguar something like. Just really get to know the car, which is a big difference on the Assetto Corsa.
Right. And
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I've always said to choose a car when it comes to those types of simulators. I mean, like ACC, you wouldn't want to be jumping around vehicle to vehicle. You want to
yeah,
stick to one car and learn the limits of that car, but you got to make sure that you love that car, right? So, I
yeah,
mean, I've mentioned this before, and that's kind of cool that you have the option, though. If you go on GT7, then you can drive a plethora of vehicles, all
yeah,
kinds, you know.
yeah. Yeah, it's fun, especially in the VR.
Oh yeah, yeah. In VR,
Yeah,
you kind of, you can't beat GT7 VR. I mean, I'm jealous because why don't they just release the game on PC? It just release the game on PC, make it moddable. It
You
will
are,
yeah,
destroy everything else on the market. I promise you. If
yeah.
they,
You
yeah. That
you sent
it'd be
video
crazy.
of you playing. I think you were racing some type of F1 or Formula car in
Yeah,
VR, and I was like, oh, I'm so jealous.
yeah.
It
That
looked
was
awesome.
that was amazing. But we got the Assetto Corsa Evo coming out, and they've already said they're focused on VR. There will be VR support, Now, whether it's good or not, I don't know. I've heard
They
it's
usually
just a set
don't.
of
They're
courses.
usually not good at the beginning, like you mentioned
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
Time will
But
tell.
So,
then, yeah, but then it's usually, you know what it is, Eric, is it's just this. I'm going to put this as an example. ACC came out 2016, I think, 2017. Somebody quote me if I'm wrong, or not quote me, correct me if I'm wrong. But the driving was good in ACC, but everything else wasn't. So
mm,
if the driving is good, then the game has potential to be good with other bugs that can be fixed and corrected. But
No,
when
that's a great transition because everybody says iRacing is the best handling game, but not nearly the best graphics.
right, and
mm,
But people say it makes it up for it.
iRacing came out in 2008. Jeff, it is the oldest standing,
The OG.
the
oh yeah.
OG, and there's easily, if I go on iRacing right now, there's 15,000 players racing right now, which
You
is
might race
insane.
against Verstappen.
And you
Yeah,
even got Verstappen. Yeah, you even got Verstappen racing a 24-hour Nordschleife right before his real life race. And then, oh
Yeah.
yeah, he wins both of them. And on the radio,
wins
they're
both
like,
of them.
on the radio, he's like, yeah, you won. You know, your team won. Oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
Time to catch up on some rest. But I mean, that's gonna wrap it up for today. I mean, iRacing is a big topic. And we'll leave that for the next episode. And I really want to give the time of day for iRacing and go into detail on what it is and who it's for, and basically there's a lot of depth. The game is old and it's had many changes, and they just recently added rain, which completely changed everything.
Everybody lost their mind.
With rain.
We got rain.
We got rain. Yeah. So
That's
yeah,
funny.
we're gonna transfer that topic over to the next episode to give it the time that it deserves. So okay, so I'm gonna do the round table. If anyone has anything else that they would like to add to this week's episode.
Yeah, I got one. I got a confession, I guess.
Oh,
I just like to, I guess, confess that I feel like I have crossed over the line from a hobby to an obsession. Before I started, when I started this hobby, I saw the people with the fourth monitor over their triples, and I was like, man, that's too much. Well, team and listeners, I have officially put the fourth monitor on. I feel like I am now reached.
he gave in.
That's it. And it is now an obsession.
And it's
yeah.
installed. It's I can see it from.
It is awesome. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
That's
man,
funny.
it's useful,
great.
man. It's
It is,
useful.
yeah. It really is. I mean, I'm running the lively pit wall, which we'll get into, I'm sure, in some other. But anyways, that's my confession. I have officially passed the hobby to the obsession.
Right, and we'll definitely cover the lovely dashboard and the lovely pit wall as well in detail. Those will be coming soon. It's just that we want to keep you all listeners up to date on things that are happening in the current time right now. So yeah, well, that's awesome. That's awesome to hear. And you also you fully transitioned over to Sim Magic gear. It's all installed. And I heard that was a pain because of you.
I mean, everybody uses the D word, done, or the rig's done or the rig's complete. It ain't never done, but
So-
it's done for right now.
My question for you was, you got rid of all your Fanatec gear. And how hard was it for you to do that?
Put it on Facebook Marketplace for maybe 10 days. And
Nice.
yeah, and it was gone. Yeah, asking price. I think the dude that I sold to got a fair price. I got fair value for what I got. And we got somebody else into the hobby. Win all the way
Awesome.
around.
Nice.
That's awesome, man. So yeah, well, that's going to be it for this week's episode. If Eric, you don't have anything else to put out?
Nothing much, man. Just run some laps.
All right. So
Drive fast, brake late.
there you go, man. And once again, congratulations to Mr. Eric Kelly.
Good work,
And
buddy.
man, good on you, brother. So I just want to say thank you all for listening. We crossed the 200 download mark on this podcast. And
Nice.
man, we're pushing and we're going to continue on providing you guys the good stuff, the news, and who knows, we might even reveal ourselves in a video podcast in the future. Who knows? So, and with that, thank you so much, and you guys have a great start of your week and take care.